be sure to comment, subscribe, and click the notifications bell.
1, 2, 3.
Hey, what's up guys? JD Venom here, part of Venom Nation Wrestling, and welcome to a late weekend edition of the Getting Over podcast. You should be seeing this maybe late Sunday, maybe early Monday morning here. Reason why this is up late, reason why I wasn't on Friday, simply because of the fact that I am now working from 3 p.m. to midnight. So with that being said, if I'm working from 3 p.m. to midnight, Monday through Friday, Raw, SmackDown, NXT reviews are not going to be up on the channel because that's when I'm working. It sucks, but well, you know what, I can still do NXT because I have the network, but I won't have time to watch Raw and SmackDown. You will still begin the Getting Over podcast on Fridays, again, beginning next week. You will be getting a SummerSlam review and SummerSlam preview and predictions on the channel. So, just want to let you guys, that is not going away here, but, yeah, if you guys don't see a Raw SmackDown review this up and coming, for the next few weeks rather, that is why. So I do apologize in advance. Hopefully you guys understand that. But if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to leave me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. And like the Facebook page, where both links are down below. Tell your friends and family to come and join the JD Venom Nation here on YouTube. And yeah, as far as the wrestling is concerned, you know, guys, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, my job is my job, so hopefully you guys understand that. But nevertheless, let's get into today's, or this week's, podcast. So we are here today for the Getting Over podcast, episode 13, here on July 31st, or maybe the 30th, I'm not too sure, but it'll be on the 30th or the 31st that you'll be seeing this on 2017. Let's start off with what has happened last week, which is the Raw and SmackDown viewership from this past week. Raw and SmackDown slightly went down. Raw went down 3% this past week. This past week's edition of Monday Night Raw, which was headlined by Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus The Miz Taraj, drew 3,067,000 viewers. This is nearly down 3% from last week. Last week's total ended up being at 3.1 million viewers. This week as at 3.067 million viewers. So Raw has been slightly better than SmackDown. SmackDown has been awful. And I'll be talking about SmackDown in a moment on why their ratings going to be going up next week. But not for good reasons. It's going up because of their, I don't know if they're desperate or if it's something that's bigger than that down the line with Shinsuke Nakamura versus John Cena for the number one contendership for the WWE title. But as far as Raw is concerned, they have been putting on better shows. Putting on better shows. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, they could be in contention of challenging Sheamus and Cesaro for the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions, which I'm actually most likely looking forward to because it gets Seth Rollins into a better position since beating Triple H at WrestleMania 33. It gets fucking Dean Ambrose away from The Miz. It gets Dean Ambrose away from the mid-card title. Put him together with Seth Rollins, have them go out the run with the tag team titles, maybe have him win the tag team titles, then eventually have Dean Ambrose turn heel on Seth Rollins. This storyline could eventually lead up to a match and maybe Survivor Series, maybe Royal Rumble, or if they do hold on long enough, maybe even WrestleMania. I would love to see these two guys go one-on-one at WrestleMania. A heel Dean Ambrose versus a face Seth Rollins. That will garner Dean Ambrose a lot of heel heat if they do it correctly. Now, I know I'm going away from what we're talking about with the viewership, but, you know, that's something that I wanted to point out to you guys, that if they do this and they do a heel turn with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, that could maybe go out to WrestleMania. That'll be something that I want to see. But also as well, we do got, you know, the Hardys and the Revival. Is the Hardys going to be broken coming up until SummerSlam? Are we going to be seeing that? We don't know. the build between the Fatal 4-Way with Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, and Braun Strowman going into SummerSlam, that's going to be some good television as well. So, Raw has some great pieces in place right now. We just got to see on how this all pans out. So, Raw's down from this past week. I can see it going up next week. Down 3%, that's not really a big deal at all. As far as SmackDown's concerned, this week's edition of SmackDown Live, which was headlined by AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, and Chris Jericho for the United States Championship, drew 2.5 million viewers, which is slightly down from last week's increase. SmackDown was at 2.5 million viewers as well last week, but SmackDown this week was at 2,535,000 viewers versus SmackDown the prior week on the 18th drew 2,548,000. So it only went down 13,000. That's not a big deal at all. I mean, they're still at the 2.5 million. I think that is a good, particularly good average for SmackDown. They've been averaging between 2.5 and 2.8 million viewers all this year. I mean, there's some times where there was only one time where they reached over 3.1 million viewers. That was on the Superstar Shakeup. And prior to there, they're at 2.8 million viewers post WrestleMania. So, again, with that being said, guys, I mean, SmackDown is not doing too well right now this week coming up. This may get us back up to the 2.7 million viewers. I'm projecting 2.7 to 2.8 just because of Shinsuke Nakamura versus John Cena for the #1 contendership for the WWE Championship. So I think that's going to be something that's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It's going to be big. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great day. Great day for America. Let me tell you something. I do not like foreigners. I want to build a wall around the country. I want to build a wall around Mexico. I want to build a wall in Canada. Build a wall in the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean. I want to build a wall on the moon. All right, I don't know why I'm doing a Donald Trump impression, but they need to do. Since they are going to have this, I guess it's not really a build, but since they're going to have this match, it's going to build the audience to 2.7, 2.8 million viewers. How are they going to do after this week? We don't know, but you do have that marquee match. You also, you also do have another United States Championship match between Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. Kevin Owens may most likely face off against Shane McMahon at SummerSlam. I already said that in this past Tuesday's SmackDown live review, so you guys should go check that out on my thoughts about Kevin Owens and maybe Shane McMahon. Me personally, I think it's taking a spot away from other wrestlers. I mean, that spot could be Kevin Owens versus Ty Dillinger in a regular one-on-one match. Again, they can feud about something. Maybe Kevin Owens versus Luke Harper. It's just taking something away from another competitor. Shane McMahon, he's great. I love Shane McMahon. Don't get me wrong, but should Shane McMahon be in his position at a SummerSlam? Maybe at a WrestleMania, but not a SummerSlam. I mean, what's going to happen next? Is Shane McMahon going to be in the Royal Rumble this year coming up? You know what I mean? Even though he is the commissioner of SmackDown. Totally don't agree with that, but hey, it is what it is with that. Let's see how SmackDown does next week with the viewership. But they really, really need to put on better TV. This past week's SmackDown wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. Like I said, if you saw my review, I enjoyed it for the most part. But over the past, 3 to 4 months, SmackDown has really declined after WrestleMania. So that is your Raw and SmackDown viewership from this past week. On to our top story here this week, guys. Is, right now, we are wondering who is going to win this match at SummerSlam between Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, and Samoa Joe. Brock Lesnar is expected to lose the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. He's expected to lose. Who's he going to lose it to? Well, there's no official news on that. A lot of people are suggesting Roman Reigns, but I'm going to make a case for Samoa Joe and maybe even Braun Strowman. Okay, but this is from Tom Fenton in Wrestling News World here on his Tom Tom's Tidings. It says, updated SummerSlam plans featuring a title change, tag match, and much more. So a lot of this here is information that we already know, guys, but I'm going to read the entire article here. Shortly before 5 p.m. on Sunday, the call was made for Kevin Owens to beat AJ Styles for the U.S. title to keep the feud going. This play into the plans for SummerSlam, which called for Cena versus Styles at this point. That original plan looks to be off. Now, what I heard is that not only that they made this call at the day of, I heard that they changed it during the match. I heard that they changed it to, you know, AJ Styles beating, well, actually, Kevin Owens, well, I'm sorry, I'm so confused now. I heard that they made Kevin Owens defeat AJ Styles at Battleground, then only to have it recalled back on SmackDown. Can you guys tell me on what is really going on with WWE and what they're really thinking when it comes to, you know, what they're booking? They do not have any solid, you know, to their heart booking. Nothing written down with this company. For all we know, let's just say, well, can you imagine what happened at, you know, at WrestleMania 33? I'm pretty sure a few of those matches has been changed a couple times. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure matches on Raw and SmackDown, we hear this all the time from Meltzer and from Alvarez and, you know, and from other guys saying that, you know, WWE, you know, they made their mind up. You know, the day of, they made their mind up, the hour before the show, they made their mind up before, you know, when both guys were in gorilla position. We hear this all the time. And the fact that you don't have a solid vision or where you want a storyline to go or where you want the company to go with certain champions, with certain, you know, with certain wrestlers on the roster is pretty asinine. Me, if you guys remember what I used to do here on this channel long ago, a couple years ago, I used to run a call promotion called FCW. Now, I know that I'm comparing a video game to, you know, to real life here. I know there's egos backstage. I know there's people, you know, pulling a lot of creative control and things of that nature. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that are doing that, like the John Cena's, maybe the Roman Reigns. If you're on top of the card, you're pulling creative control. You know what I mean? So that's the Roman Reigns, that's the Brock Lesnar, you know, that's the Undertaker when he's there. You know what I mean? Triple H, you know what I mean? When he's wrestling. There's a lot of creative control if you're on top of the card. You know what I mean? But if you're in the middle of the card, if you're like, I mean, not saying that Kevin Owens is in the middle of the card, but he, you know, he's not a top guy. As much as we want Kevin Owens to be a top guy, he's not a top guy. You know, guys like Kevin Owens and, you know, I'm just going to name Jinder Mahal and Sami Zayn and, you know, even to the point of Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe and, you know, guys like that, Bray Wyatt. Can you imagine going up to Vince McMahon and saying, you know what, this ain't going to fucking work for me? You want me to lose again here? Well, why you gotta have me lose here tonight against this guy? I wrestled this guy fucking 5 times already. I only won once. Can I be put over one time? You know, another time against this guy? Can you imagine that conversation going on with Vince McMahon or Kevin Dunn or fucking Road Dogg or fucking Michael Hayes? You know what I mean? Can you imagine that? Triple H saying that to Triple H? Well, what happened? They'll look and laugh at you. They'll be like, okay, well, you don't want to do the job? Okay, well, you're not only going to do the job, we're going to embarrass you on TV for the next fucking 5 months. If you ever make an opinion to these guys, Vince McMahon and, you know, some of these other guys, what happens? You get buried. You can't go nowhere. If you do go anywhere, you know what I mean? Depending on who you are, you may get paid just the same, but you're not going to be known as, you know, like a fucking all-time great according to WWE. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just like Cody Rhodes. Now, Cody Rhodes is making a lot of money in the Indies and in New Japan and Ring of Honor, and his career has been, he's on career renaissance right now. But, you know, does WWE give a fuck about that? No. They don't. They really don't. And I can really tell you that sometimes, with some wrestlers they feel guilty about, that they let go. I know they feel guilty that they let go, you know, Drew McIntyre and John Morrison and you know, and Cody Rhodes to a degree, I would even say, because these guys are getting over by themselves. But I can't just imagine just any of these guys just going up to Vince and say, hey, this doesn't work for me. The only people I see that is like John Cena, Randy Orton, you know, guys like that. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I know I barely read the first paragraph of this news story here, and I just went off a tangent about that because it just reminded me of the Kevin Owens, you know, to beat AJ Styles at Battleground, to only for that to change again 2 nights later on SmackDown. Does that make any sense? No. Why take the title off of AJ Styles if, you know, if you're gonna have that change back? It's because of the people who, you know, who are in Vegas, who are like doing the fucking odds, the odds makers. I don't know. But it is what it is with that. Anyway, in the feud that will never end, the Jinder Mahal / Randy Orton feud is expected to continue at SummerSlam. Look for it to be a tag or a multi-person tag team match with Jinder Mahal and the Great Khali versus Orton and the Apart. That's simply not happening because, again, this news story was before. This was actually on Tuesday. This was actually on last Tuesday before SmackDown, so that's not gonna happen. Jinder Mahal is gonna face either against Shinsuke Nakamura, John Cena, or maybe both. Maybe it's gonna be a triple threat. As of right now, SummerSlam also has a plan at SummerSlam to have the Money in the Bank cash-in plan. I think we can see that from a mile away. I said that on Tuesday. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt at SummerSlam, expected to feature the return of the Demon. That's obvious as well. I said that on Monday. That's an obvious thing. Lastly, Brock Lesnar is expected to drop the title in his Fatal 4-Way main event match against Reigns, Joe, and Strowman. Don't put the title on Reigns. Reigns does not need it. He doesn't need it. Give it to Joe. Give it to Joe or Strowman. If you give it to Strowman, we know it's gonna be Strowman versus Reigns, and to be quite honest, I do not want to see that as yet. Don't want to see that as yet. Not for the title. We already came up with you with Strowman and Reigns. I mean, I know Strowman and Reigns is like Randy Orton. It's gonna be like Randy Orton and John Cena eventually. I mean, they're gonna have like 55 matches against each other. So I know it's gonna happen. Put on Samoa Joe. Put on Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe it will be fresh. Samoa Joe could create a feud with Samoa Joe and maybe Braun Strowman. Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Samoa Joe and, I mean, I'm just gonna throw names out there. Big Cass, even though I know that may not fucking happen, but I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Give us fresh feuds. You know what I mean? On Monday Night Raw. I don't want to see Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman again. I don't want to see Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. I don't want to see, you know, Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe. That's not fresh to me. I want to see new matchups. You know what I mean? I will go with, I don't want to see Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins. Samoa Joe versus Dean Ambrose, yeah, that could be fine, but that's something that's not going to be, you know, something that's not going to be anything great right off the top of our heads. But let's see how that goes. Let's see how that goes along with this here, since Brock Lesnar is expected to drop the Universal title in the Fatal 4-Way match. Again, if he's going to drop the title, drop it to Samoa Joe. That's all I got to say. Or Braun Strowman, but I'd rather to see Samoa Joe. That'll get some reigns up on WWE TV. That'll get some of the fans watching again every week. And it will be not as predictable. It will be something different. Different feeling on Monday Night Raw. Recently released WWE star R-Ray causing problems on the independent circuit. I wonder who that can be. If you guys could put 2 and 2 together on who's been causing problems in the back, who's been getting their ass kicked in the back and got released from WWE, this should be a no-brainer. Former WWE wrestler Simon Gotch, who was released shortly after WrestleMania, returned to the independent circuit last week using the name Simon Grimm. While there were reports which Gotch denied about a catering incident leading to his release, WWE really lost faith in him stemming from a backstage altercation with Sin Cara last year. As is often the case, if you lose a real fight backstage, Vince McMahon often doesn't take you seriously after that, and the writing has been on the wall for Gotch for quite some time. But Gotch's string of controversy continued with his return to the Indies as one of his first matches back. He was unhappy with how which his opponent was selling and decided to change the finish and just put his opponent into a shoot rear naked choke until the referee stopped the match. God damn it, Simon Gotch. Simon Grimm, Simon Gotch. Jesus Christ, man. They're like, not everybody has been WWE. Not everybody has, you know, been NXT who's been taught by fucking William Regal and fucking Robbie Brookside and Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Dusty Rhodes, the Bele Wele. You know what I mean? Not everybody has been taught by those great legends. I mean, this guy, the guy that you're probably going up against in the ring was probably, less than 5 years in the fucking company. Less than 5 years in wrestling, I should say, not in the company, but less than 5 years in wrestling. I guarantee you that could have been the case. But it is what it is. Simon Gotch, he ain't coming back to WWE. He wasn't really worth shit anyway, so fuck him. That's all I gotta say about that. Moving on to our next story here, guys, and WWE resurrecting an old pay-per-view concept, and Edge and Christian reveal their network show's future. All right, so let's talk about the old pay-per-view concept first. This was according to PW Insider. WWE recently filed a trademark, the phrase Taboo Tuesday, which was an old pay-per-view concept that evolved into Cyber Sunday. Cyber Sunday was an interactive pay-per-view which saw fans vote on things like stipulations and opponents and more. Who gives a fuck? Who really gives a fuck? Because we knew it was fake. Remember that one time? It wasn't a Taboo Tuesday, but remember it was actually it was Raw Roulette. Raw Roulette 2011 in Las Vegas, where CM Punk did the pipe bomb promo. Does everybody remember that particular show where they voted for who Sin Cara was going to go up against? And Evan Bourne was on the list, and it could have been the first time. Oh, it's going to be Evan Bourne versus Sin Cara. It's going to be a great match. But they didn't pick Evan Bourne. It was somebody random. I forgot who it was. It was somebody really random, like it was like Mason Ryan or somebody. It was like, what the fuck? I don't want to see Sin Cara versus Mason Ryan. I forgot what it was. But that right there tells me that this concept, this Taboo Tuesday concept, this Cyber Sunday concept, no one wants to see. It's already predetermined. No, the fans doesn't have no interest in it. The fans have no interest in it. Neither does what WWE thinks about what the fans think. Oh, as far as matches are concerned. Can you imagine if the fans fucking in a shoot sense have control of what matches that they want to see on pay-per-view? Fuck no. That ain't gonna fucking happen. Not whatsoever. Now, they could be, again, WWE, they trademark a lot of things. I mean, this could be for a DVD release. This could be for anything. Doesn't mean that Taboo Tuesday is coming back. Doesn't mean that Cyber Sunday is coming back. I don't really expect much out of this. I mean, if WWE is filing a trademark, best believe there's something that's going to be behind this. But I just don't think it's going to be anything like, ooh, wow. You know what I mean? If they do anything here, it could be like a SmackDown special or something where they do a Taboo Tuesday on SmackDown. It's not going to be a pay-per-view because SmackDown's on Tuesdays. So, if anything, it may be, it may be something to where that they have, where they'll just basically have a special SmackDown called Taboo Tuesday. They could be doing something like that. Edge and Christian update on the future of their network show on the most recent edition of the ENC Pod of Awesomeness. Show host Edge and Christian provided an update on the future of their WWE network show. The host revealed that the show will likely not continue to air, as it's probably too expensive for WWE. They added that a second season of the show was laid out entirely, and half of it was already shot. However, the future of it is now to be determined. In related news, the planned R-Truth game show, which I didn't fucking know that was the fucking theme, a game show with R-Truth, whatever, which was set to go forward as a series on the WWE Network, has also been canceled. The pilot episode of the show had been shot. So here's my thing. WWE, they're losing money. If they're saving on pyro, they're saving on a lot of things because their attendance is down. Their ratings are down on TV. Their fucking network subscriptions are down. WWE is, by the end of 2017, will end up losing money. They will end up losing money, in my opinion. And here's the thing. If they're going to end up losing money, they need to make a decision on what they want to do with their product. Now, I know they can't really do much anything because since they are a PG company. They're a PG company. I mean, I understand that. But they need to do something about their product. They need to do something about the product to the point where it's something a lot better than what they're doing right now. I don't agree with what they're doing right now for the most part because WWE has been boring. It's been lackluster. It's been shitty. It's been all those synonyms, that you can think of. But hey, it is what it is. I mean, Edge and Christian, their show was pretty I didn't. I'll put it to you this way. I wasn't like a fan of it, but I caught an episode or two and I was legitimately laughing with it. I thought the humor was pretty funny for the most part. It is what it is with that, though. It is what it is with that. On to, I guess, if you want to call this big news, you can. I don't know. I think this is something that's remained to be seen, but apparently this is something that can definitely happen. Chris Cyborg, who won the UFC featherweight title at UFC 214 on Saturday, challenges WWE's Becky Lynch for a match at SummerSlam. Over the last few weeks, we've seen Becky Lynch and Chris Cyborg exchanging verbal blows over social media. In the wake of UFC 214 Saturday night, the MMA fighter has officially laid out the challenge to the last kicker for SummerSlam. For those who don't know, Chris Cyborg is one of the most feared female fighters on the face of the planet, and she cemented herself as one of the all-time greats last night by capturing the UFC Featherweight Championship. And her opponent was no chump either, as Tanya Evinger gave the 32-year-old everything she had before succumbing to barrage in the third round. In terms of the actual challenge, Lynch taunted Cyborg through a video on Twitter prior to the bout, with Chris officially laying down the gauntlet shortly after her triumph. We'll have to wait and see over the next few days to whether or not WWE comment on the potential match. So, my thing is, here's the thing. Not only Chris Cyborg challenged Becky Lynch to a match at SummerSlam, not at a UFC fight, but Jon Jones, who won the UFC light heavyweight title last night from Daniel Cormier, he challenged Brock Lesnar. I can see something to where that WWE and UFC again will come to some type of agreement where they can trade talents for an event. I can see a match between Brock Lesnar and Jon Jones, which I think would be pretty good. And I can also see, unfortunately, a match between Chris Cyborg and Becky Lynch. Now, if Cyborg comes to WWE, you cannot have her lose or even look weak. I love Becky Lynch. She's hot. Chris Cyborg's half man. I'm just saying. She is half a man, is Chris Cyborg. Even it would be more believable with Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch, or Ronda Rousey and Charlotte. But even at that, you cannot compare an MMA fighter to a professional wrestler. Okay, I mean, I know Becky Lynch is talented. She's a grappler. I get it, but to me, it's not believable if she defeats Chris Cyborg. I just don't see it. I don't even think that the fanfare is there either, because the casual fans know who Jon Jones is. Casual fans know who Ronda Rousey is. Casual fans don't know who Chris Cyborg is. They don't. I really can't see this actually happening. If it does happen, that's another match on SummerSlam that's really gonna be wasted for no reason. SummerSlam has already become a very big, huge card, and I don't really see this happening. If it does happen, then this has to be very, very short. It has to be less than 2 or 3 minutes to even be anything. But I'll let you know more information about this here, because that is a very, very strange, very, very strange match possibility to come at SummerSlam. Alright guys, well that is it for today's podcast. That is the news, those are the rumors this week. Let's get into the boy and bae of the week, and also this week in wrestling. First of all, let's go into my boy of the week. My boy of the week is a man who debuted his first match on Monday Night Raw as a singles competitor. He's a man who is Kurt Angle's son. It is Jason Jordan with a very impressive first match against Kurt Hawkins this past week on Monday Night Raw. And also, Jason Jordan is rumored to face off against The Miz at SummerSlam for the Intercontinental Championship. We will find more information about that on Monday Night Raw to see if that officially is going to happen or not. But Jason Jordan is my boy of the week. My bae of the week is a woman who was on NXT this past week. It is a woman who finally decided to re-challenge Asuka for the NXT Women's Championship, the women's title. It is Ember Moon. Ember Moon with an impressive victory this week on NXT. Challenges Asuka. Asuka accepts, and that's the match that we're going to be getting at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Again, TakeOver Brooklyn Part 3, which will be Asuka versus Ember Moon for the NXT Women's Championship. Let's get to This Week in Wrestling, guys. This Week in Wrestling, we're going to be closing it out. This Week in Wrestling, 9 years ago this week, WWE presented the 36th and final episode of Saturday night's main event from the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C., premiering back in May 1985 on NBC as an occasional replacement for Saturday Night Live. Saturday night's main event was a rarity for televised wrestling at the time, presenting bouts with established stars facing one another up and down the card, as opposed to stars being enhancement talent, usually in quick fashion. Saturday night's main event often featured key bouts in ongoing storylines, sometimes for championships, sometimes with a stipulation such as steel cage, best of 3 falls, or a handicap match. NBC aired 29 of Saturday night's main events, as well as 5 episodes of its primetime night sister series, the main event, through 1991. The first episode of the main event, featuring Andre the Giant defeating Hulk Hogan for the WWF Championship, was watched by 33 million people, the largest audience for any wrestling show in television history. With NBC acquiring the national rights to the NBA games and interest in pro wrestling declining, Saturday night's main event was dropped. Fox would pick up the series in 1992, but would drop it that same year after 2 airings. The series was reborn in 2006, and before I go into that, they should have brought it back during the Attitude Era, either for, you know, Fox or even fucking NBC. They should have brought it back during the Attitude Era. If they would have brought it back in 1998 after WrestleMania 14, probably all the way through fucking, you know, WrestleMania 17, they could have put on a lot of classic stuff. I mean, it's history now, but they should have struck while the iron was hot. I think it was because it was the Attitude Era, TV 14, and that shit would not have gone well on network TV. That is most likely the reason why they did not do that. But just me thinking about it off the top of my head, that could have been a great thing. But most likely the reason why that did not happen because of the Attitude Era and the TV 14, the raunchy stuff that WWE was doing back then. The series was reborn in 2006 after NBC Universal acquired the broadcasting rights to WWE programming. However, by this time, WWE had been adopting the Saturday night's main event concept for their main programming. Raw and SmackDown for years. Case in point, the 2006 reboot got a 2.9 rating, slightly higher than typical SmackDown at the time. The show drew a 0.7 rating in the age of 18 to 34 demographic and 2.3 million viewers overall with the show outliving its usefulness, it was quietly discontinued. All right. So the last Saturday Night's main event featured this. In a pre-show dark match, Paul Lynn defeated Charlie Haas. JBL, Kane, and Legacy defeated John Cena, Batista, and Crime Time. The Great Khali defeated Jimmy Wang Yang, and Edge defeated Jeff Hardy. Wow, that is quite something there. But not next night, but 2 nights later, on Raw, Mike Amley is named the new, good God, general manager on Monday Night Raw. In his act, GM Amley announced that John Cena and Batista will face off at SummerSlam. The move was reported a last-ditch effort to salvage something from Mike's disappointing yet expensive run with the company. He was reported getting $300,000 a year. It didn't work out. Just over 3 months later, Amley was released. The announcement ended the first Raw of the much mangled, what the fuck? The much maligned PG era, which began the previous Tuesday when the company issued a press release saying that all of their programming will carry the rating going forward. So 9 years ago, we got the last Saturday Night's main event, and the PG era began. What do you know? What do you know about that, guys? It's been almost 10 years since we've been in the PG era, guys. Almost been 10 years. Next year will be 10 years of the PG era, guys. Why are we still watching this shit? I have no idea, but that was your This Week in Wrestling. Alright, guys, that was the Gator Podcast, episode 13 to end here for this week. Like I said, you may be seeing this late Sunday night. If not, definitely Monday morning sometime. But if you guys did like this here, be sure to leave a thumbs up on the way out. Again, I will not be doing Raw, SmackDown reviews for the next up and coming at least 3 to 4 weeks, just because of my work schedule from 3 p.m. to 12 midnight. So, obviously, that's during time of Raw and SmackDown, so I do apologize, guys. But you will be getting another Getting Over podcast. You will be getting an NXT review, and you also will be getting SummerSlam pay-per-view and predictions and review once SummerSlam does come up next month. But that is it, guys. If you did like this here, be sure to leave a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and like the Facebook page, where both links are down below. And I will see you guys later. Peace out.